My name is Jerome Ferry. My cameraman is Alan Eggers. We are doing a video interview with Art Swarzentruber, a lifelong resident of Cedar Rapids and co-founder and president of the Vigortone Agri Products Company in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah.
Art, tell us what year and when you were born.
I was born October 13th, 1913,
In Cedar Rapids.
here in Cedar Rapids, rural Cedar Rapids.
What was your folks' name?
My dad's name was Daniel Peter Swarzentruber, and my mother's name was Faye, F-A-Y-E.
Were you born in a hospital or at home?
I was born at home.
And did you have any brothers and sisters?
I didn't understand.
Did you have any brothers or sisters?
I had one sister.
And what was your dad's occupation?
Well, he was a night clerk at the old Grand Hotel. It was right down the center of Cedar Rapids. And then he farmed. We had 5 head of dairy cattle, we had chickens, we had hogs, and vegetable gardens. Right during the Depression years, a lot of things we didn't have, but we had plenty of food.
Where was this on
It was
what,
on
Mount Vernon Road?
Mount Vernon Avenue and 30th Street.
At the top of the hill there?
It's now a building, an office building now. It's right across from the Catholic school.
All Saints.
All Saints, right.
Wasn't there an old grocery store right there in that vicinity?
There was a grocery store on the corner of Memorial Drive on Mount Vernon Road. Biondo Brothers. And we, in addition to raising crops and so forth, we delivered milk to about 3 or 4 customers. That was my job early in the morning and before I went to school.
And wasn't there a grocery store by the name of Misek?
Oh, Masek, M-A-S-E-K, and they were right across the street from the old Dairydale School. And it remained there for many years after the school was torn down.
Trolleys. Do you recall trolleys in Cedar Rapids?
Yes, I do, and it came out Mount Vernon Road to 24th Street, stopped there. And I know on occasion, I can still remember, I was big enough, but my mother would practically carry me from the end of that line to where our home was, which was probably a good half-mile away.
When the trolley run to Mount Vernon in Lisbon, that was evidently before your time.
I remember it. My mother remember
The interurban or whatever they call
my
it.
mother taking me on a trip one day down there. It was a very eventful event for me. I can even remember what clothes my mother had on.
Horses. Do you remember horses in
Oh
your?
yes, we had, that was our mode of transportation. Before the Model T was horse and buggy. And my dad drove that back and forth downtown, kept the horse in the livery stable there during the evenings, and that was the way we all got around.
He worked the night shift at the Grand Hotel?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember the first automobile that he had?
Yes, by all means. It was the Model T Ford, and my sister and I were so excited about it. I think we spent several nights sitting in it all night. But that was a big event, and of course, it came along about the time of the Lincoln Highway, and that prompted the people to want to travel with those very economical Ford touring cars.
Do you remember the stretch of pavement they put in experimentally out
Yes,
east?
indeed. That was
The
called
Seedling Mile, they call it.
Seedling Mile. And farmers would come from far and wide to ride either in their buggies or in their cars up and down that thing, and it was a great promotion. So that when the voting came along for highway money, these farmers were all in favor of it.
That was very good thinking on somebody's part to put
Yes,
that
indeed
here.
it was.
How long of a time period it was from the time they put in that Seedling Mile until they finally paved the Lincoln Highway?
I would say probably within the second year, and it was quite an event. You know, there was no way to get from East Coast to West Coast at that time.
And you lived right off of
Right on
the Lincoln Highway, so I imagine you've seen quite an increase in traffic and.
Yeah, we could. At first, we'd see maybe 10, 15 cars a day, but as time went on, it increased. And a very interesting time in Cedar Rapids to have these people coming in, tourists coming in. Many of them would stop at our place because we sold milk and vegetables and eggs, and so we got a lot of interesting and weird stories of why they were traveling and where they were going.
Do you ever recall any gypsies in that neighborhood?
Oh, indeed. They camped right across the street from our place. And as I mentioned, we sold produce, and they would come over, 6 or 8 of the men. And I can remember my dad watching them because they would generally steal more than they'd buy. But they did camp there. They were very colorful people, colorfully dressed, and generally had some of the more expensive automobiles as time went on.
Mm-hmm. Hunter Airport. Do you remember Hunter Airport?
Oh, yes.
Any memories of it?
Well, one of my very best friends, Walt Nesper, was would walk. They would put on shows, plane exhibitions, and he would walk around on the wings of these planes. he was such a good friend of mine, and he started the Nesper Sign Company.
He never tried to talk you into performing.
Never. He couldn't have done that.
How about
for that?
Did you have a newspaper out when you was a kid?
Yes, I did. It was in town, the east edge of town, and I delivered the Gazette for 2 or 3 years. It was a good source of making a few bucks at that time.
Did you remember the first radio your dad had, or did you have a radio in the early days?
Yes, we did. First, we had a Victrola. When you bought a Victrola, they'd give you some records. Well, we got one record, and I remember the one side was Dardanella, and the other side was 3 Black Crows. And we'd play those over and over and over again. Radio came along just a little bit after that.
You had mentioned your dad working at the Grand Hotel, the Grand?
Grand Hotel,
The
right?
Grand Hotel. Did he ever take you down there?
Oh, yes. I can remember it was, at one time, it was the finest hotel west of the Mississippi. it's later days when he was there. It was a big hotel, and all the baseball players stayed there, and so I always had plenty of cracked baseball bats to play with.
Wasn't there a grand theater too?
Yes, there was a grand theater, a burlesque, right next door.
They had live burlesque shows.
Yes, they did.
How about any other theaters that stick out in your mind?
And it
Any other theaters at that time? That
Majestic Theater, that was live shows. It's right across the street, right across 3rd Street, and it remained there for many years.
Did your dad ever let you stay overnight at the hotel when you
Yes.
worked there?
I remember the first time I stayed with him. I was probably about 8 or 9, and he took me upstairs in one of those huge big rooms. But that was a little scary for me. I couldn't take it. I had to come back down in the lobby.
When you were as a little kid, Art, do you remember what'd you play for games to amuse you? What the kids amuse themselves with?
Going to this Dairydale, which was a 3-room school through the 8th grade, and there was no organized athletics of any kind, and you played various games of people running across a certain area, and you had to tag them. I can remember very well because my mother bought me a new suit of clothes. There were 2 pair of pants, and one was to wear to church on Sundays. The other, she said, I'm going to let you wear these to school, but you be careful. The first day I wore them, we played this game, and some kid grabbed the fly on my pants and ripped them halfway off. I almost hated to go home.
Did you play marbles? The kids play marbles?
A lot of marbles and flying kites and things that you made yourself to play with.
Did you ever make a slingshot?
Slingshots, always the spring of the year. 3 or 4 of us, my buddies, we would go out in the timber and select a proper kind
Crotch.
of and always saved old inner tubes so that we'd have. We were a little rough on some of the nice birds, which I regretted later, but we got pretty accurate with those slingshots.
Hopefully you could find a piece of suitable leather to make a pouch, but
Right. And then we would go down to Indian Creek and get a little round pebbles, and we would put them in one day my mother looked at my front of my leg there and she says, what in the world is the matter there? You're all red and scabs there. We couldn't figure it out until we decided that it was because I put 10, 12, 15 of these round pebbles in my pants pocket and it rubbed on my leg.
Did you have a favorite swimming pool in the neighborhood?
No,
Or a swimming hole, I mean?
we swam on where East Post Road crosses Indian Creek. That's where we swam. We'd go down there and swim all day and then be so tired we couldn't hardly get.
Did you have to check each other for bloodsuckers when you got out?
Oh yes, generally that. And it was a long trip up there. Our only means of transportation was old bicycles. I never had a new bicycle. But those are wonderful days. Yeah. And
how about the winter time? Did you ice skate?
Ice skating, and then we made a sort of a ski sled out of old barrel staves, and we had some exciting times because at one time one of the boys, by the name of Nemechek, was coming down the hill and hit a tree and broke his leg, and we're way back in the timber.
And of course, I suppose you all went barefooted in the summertime.
No, that was always find out who could start the barefoot idea first in the spring.
Bib overalls,
Oh yes.
full of patches. And
In those days, you know, it was during the hard times, and you'd wear shoes until the toes would stick out. But you never thought anything of it because everybody else had the same problem.
how about indoor plumbing? I don't imagine you had
No
indoor
indoor
plumbing.
plumbing, no electricity for the first, I'd say, 8-10 years of my life. And
Outdoor
it was pretty
toilets,
primitive there, but
outdoor toilets, and you had an outdoor
oh
toilet.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your mother probably had hollyhocks planted around it.
Yeah.
How about a cistern? Did you have a cistern to collect the rainwater?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
When you were young, there was an explosion of the Douglas Starch Works downtown.
Yes, I remember it very well.
What were you doing?
We were eating dinner in the evening, and we were probably 4 miles from Pennington Ford, and it rattled our windows. And we wondered, of course, what in the world happened. Didn't find out until hours later.
When you lived there in the 3400 block on Mount Vernon Road, and you looked down towards downtown Cedar Rapids, did it have all of the trees that it has now, the large trees? Was
Yes,
was there a lot of timber?
There's always a lot of trees. Right. And we got to study them pretty well to see what we're...
Did you, did the kids chew tobacco, smoke cigarettes back then?
Mostly what they call them, cubebs, I believe, a little bit. I was...
What was that?
Uh,
What was that?
well, it was a combination of some kind of a weed. We roll them up. I never went for that very much because I can recall it in the fall of the year, you'd raking leaves up. Then you'd set them afire, you know, and the kids would jump over there. And you never could quite make it over. And you sucked in the air, you know, and it just burned like fire all the way down. So smoking never made sense to me, and I never smoked.
You never did.
I did chew a little tobacco once. It was in the fall of the year when the grapes were out, you know, and we were eating grapes and chewing this tobacco. I got so sick and laid out in the front yard. I thought I was going to die, and my mother did too. But that was the end of my tobacco experience.
Was your dad? Did he drink?
No,
He didn't.
no, my folks were my dad had a Mennonite background, and they were pretty strict.
Were church-going people?
Yes, but there were, when his family moved into the area around Donaldson, Iowa, there was no Mennonite churches there, so they joined the German Reformed Church. And when they came up here, joined the Baptist Church, and I still remain. I'm probably the oldest member of the First Baptist Church in Cedar Rapids.
Did they send you, make you go to Sunday school every Sunday, or?
Every Sunday, never missed. And joined the Boy Scout troop from that church. I've always valued my Boy Scout experience, and I've contributed every single year since they came around to to get donations.
You ever remember your dad giving you a whipping?
No, I remember one time my mother, I was late, but I think about 12, 13 years old, didn't come home for dinner at night, and my sister went to find me, and I was playing somewhere. I think I said something to her, listen to the wind blow, you know, and I didn't come home. But when I did get home, my mother said, you take him out to the barn there. And so we walked out to the barn. My dad was a kind guy, and he said, you better holler just a little bit. But he said, I'm not going to whip you. You know better than that. You knew you shouldn't have stayed out.
Do you remember segregation? Do you have any
No,
black
as a matter of fact,
children
in high school, only time we ran into African people was at Washington High School, and golly, we got along just great with all of them, and friendly, and most of them were athletes, and we just accepted one another.
You had mentioned the Darrydale School earlier. Was that was at 34th Street?
That was 34th Street, right?
Mm-hmm. What
Right.
what grades would that have been?
Well, it was
1 through 8?
it was kindergarten through 8th grade. There was 3 rooms, 3 teachers, and believe me, they run that school with an iron hand. They paid no attention to parents or anybody, and I think as a result, they had great discipline.
Did they have school boards then?
No, there was just one, I can even remember her name, Lulu B. Sechrist. She was a county school. Darrydale was out in the county, and it was there was kindergarten, there were 3 grades in each school, or in each room, and ended with through the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. And then when did you have a junior high then?
And we went to McKinley High School, which was brand new, for 1 year, and then went to Old Washington High School, which wasn't fit to be a high school because it was in terrible shape, and the trains go by there, you know, and the cinders flying and noisy, and it was, the building actually would shake a little bit.
And of course they were burning coal at that time, I suppose,
yeah.
And you always had that coal smell or taste permeating the air.
Right.
How did you get to Old Wash? Did you walk?
Walked. Walking was just no other way to go. And I enjoyed walking, and it carried on through my life. I hike practically every day of my life. I hike, depending on how I feel and depending on what the weather is, but it just seems to invigorate you, and you get good exercise.
That's why you are in the as good a shape as you are today.
I would suppose so. Not smoking had to be number 1, but I've always exercised, and I tried to watch my weight.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost 15 pounds during this back problem that I had, and I got to gain it back.
When you were in high school, or did you date? Do you remember your first date you had with a girl?
Oh yeah, I guess it wasn't too exciting, I don't think. But there were clubs, and you would be invited to girls would invite you sometimes, and then you would. But I do recall that you could go out on a date if you had 25 or 30 cents in your pocket. You could go to a movie, and you'd have a nickel apiece for something after the movie.
When you were when you were going to school in Washington, how many students would be in a class on the average?
I'm only going to guess, but probably 20. Our graduating class, I think, was 290 students.
Mm-hmm. When I know Washington High School was well known for its football teams, did you get involved in football?
Well, the era that was so well known was at the same time my sister was going to high school, and they played 2 years in a row for the national championship. Once with Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I don't recall who the other one was, but they had some powerful teams, and they were getting players to move into Cedar Rapids.
Recruiting?
Proselyting.
They were recruiting back then.
Absolutely. And then we had some games that carried over. When I was there, my first year was 29, and we played Toledo, Ohio. We played Omaha. We played. There wasn't a league like there is now, and it was an interesting era of football.
What position did you play?
Well, I played guard and then an equivalent of a linebacker. They didn't call them that, but I would pull back and I could go anywhere up and down the back of the line.
What was your? Remember your coach's name?
Yes, 1 year was Bill Kelly, who was an Iowa graduate, and then Orville Rust came on for my last couple of years. He was from Des Moines, and a real wonderful guy. I had high respect for him, and knew him and followed his career all the way from that on.
Mm-hmm. What year did you graduate, Mark?
I graduated in 1931.
And were you you were class president your
Right.
senior year? You have that photo. Would you hold that up? Do you remember the other gentleman on there with you?
Oh yes, they've all passed away as far as I know.
That's you in the center.
Yes, right here. And then I was also captain of the football team. That's this group here.
Can you get that out? Mm-hmm. Very good. So you graduated in 1931, and now let's get you into college. Where did you go to college then?
Well, I had to work, so I stayed in Cedar Rapids. Glad I did, because I got a very good education at Coe College, and we played University of Illinois 1 year, University of Wisconsin, but the big highlight was playing against the military academy, West Point, and we were gone a whole week. I had to go by train, and that game was arranged by one of the coaches who formerly was at Washington High School, and also Coe.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was quite an experience for bunch of hay kickers. You know, out there.
Didn't you win 2 championships also in the Midwest?
Yes, we
Midwest
did.
championships.
We had